beautiful mother left this earth today, but the lessons that she taught us will never go away. Love for family, first and last. Take care of each other, forget the past. There's a time to turn the other cheek, though it does not mean that you are weak. There are times you must put up a fight and stand up what you know is right. Learn from your mistakes and correct them if you can, and love of God and country must be part of your plan. She had a hard life as a child, but never did complain. It was a fact of life, and no one was to blame. She had the biggest heart, and her smile lit up her face. And those around her knew you shared a special place. Her little body was tired and filled with too much pain, and God decided that our loss was indeed his gain. His gain. Goodbye, Mama, we miss you till we meet again.
Mom always started her day the same. She looked out her window at the Arizona cypress trees and said, "The Lord is giving me the thumbs up." She would give him the thumbs up back and say, "Yes, this is the day the Lord has made." Sorry, I wasn't going to do that until later. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Then she would read from her little calendar for God's word for the day. Her door was open to all, and she treasured each visit. She always had 3 or 4 calendars around to ensure everyone had a blessing to read. She was always very appreciative of any kindness shown her, was genuinely interested in people, and could converse on any subject that interested you. She loved plants, and they responded to her. She could see pictures in clouds or snow. Toward the end, she wasn't always sure who she was. Oh, I'm sorry, she wasn't always sure where she was. She knew who she was. But she wasn't sorry. Toward the end, she wasn't always sure where she was, but she was always on vacation, having a good time, and at the same time was looking forward to getting back home. 2 of her favorite songs were Bob Hope's "Thanks for the Memory" and Lawrence Welk's closing theme song. If she were here, she would say, "Thanks for the memories, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen." And my daughter couldn't be here, but she did send a little poem that she asked me if I would read, and I'm only going to do a little section of it. It says, "To Grandma, the memory of you, now a treasure, evermore in our hearts you will be. The strength and the love you imparted will cause us to thrive and succeed. For never a time that you chastened, that you didn't have our best at heart. So how do we press on without you? We press on with your love in our hearts. We love you, Grandma."
Well, like everybody here, it's kind of difficult to pick just one memory. And it makes you wonder how one tiny little woman could evoke so many wonderful, powerful memories. But something that always stayed with me, and it's kind of a strange thing, but I was pretty young, and I told her one time I wanted to die before she did, because I couldn't imagine being here without her. And in her calm and loving wisdom, she actually told me that God is very wise, and that I would grow up and marry and have children and all the family and friends, and it would help me to not be so sad. And the thing it is, as I look out at all of the wonderful family we have, and her friends, and just family in general, I'm really grateful for the blessings that she did leave behind. And then also, neither of my children were here to be here, but they wanted to share something as well. And read the oldest first. He said, if you want to live a long time and be happy, here are 10 things that Grandma did that might serve as pointers for the rest of us. Number 1, stay active or live in a house with a staircase. Sing and listen when you're singing with others. 3rd, write letters and poems. Save some and give others as gifts to loved ones. 4, pray earnestly and give thanks to your Creator. 5, tell stories to entertain and to remember the past. Solve crosswords and play games that sharpen your wit. Learn new words and use them in daily conversations. 8, rely on others to help you when you do need it. Give up the vices that will kill you and enjoy the ones that won't. Cultivate a joyful spirit in times and past. And that last one, cultivate the joyful spirit in times of good and past, is tricky, but something tells me that if we wake up to the more mundane pleasures in life, as Grandma did, then it's really not that tricky. My love and condolences and appreciation to all the kids, but especially to Casey, who epitomizes self-sacrifice and who hopefully will look back on it with joy. And then the youngest one, he's the more fun-loving one, and he says, I find myself humming or singing at work every day and can make a song out of everything people say. Grandma Robins is responsible for that. When she would come to stay with us in California, I remember she always had a song to sing or a poem to read. And when we would visit in Albuquerque, my mom and her sisters and brothers would harmonize to her favorites. Now, if I could only carry a tune. She definitely taught me how important family is and to keep close to them.
Even though we were separated by miles, we kept in touch by the phone. I called Mom when OU played Oklahoma University. We would do play-by-play and talk about the scores, especially when OU played Nebraska. She always rooted for Nebraska against the Sooners. I would read to Mom the Argus Hamilton articles in the newspaper, and we would laugh over his comical comments and insights together. Deborah and I included Mom with many of the things we did by calling her and telling her what we were doing. One event we included was George Bush's inauguration. And she said it was fun to be there with us in the freezing snow cold. While we were living in Virginia, Mom visited us. Every day we went to walk around the duck pond, near our townhouse. Every time we passed a certain bush, a mockingbird would trill and mock our conversation. I'd whistle back, and Mom got such a thrill out of the conversation. She talked about that mockingbird every time we called her when she was turned to Albuquerque. I found a stuffed bird attached a note to it, I'm mocking you, on its beak. I sent it to Mom. Casey took a picture of Mom with the gift. You can view the picture on one of the memory boards we created. Another favorite memory was enjoyed retelling was when we took Mom to a fast food restaurant. After we ordered our food, she asked the cashier, where do you keep the condoms? I quickly whispered, condiments, Mom, condiments. The cashier just blink an eye and point to where the conference was.
Well, that was great. Okay, so there's you probably haven't noticed the theme here, there's a lot of poets in the family. I kind of had a pastime with Grandma where we would always trade these little poems back and forth, and I don't know if you've ever seen them. She actually keeps a book of them. Hopefully someday we'll be able to publish that for everybody in the family. But so I penned a little one for Mom just as or Grandma as a kind of going away. Mary Lou is what it's titled. Mary Lou, when skies were blue, on grass, no shoes, your mom was oh so proud of you, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, only 2, missing teeth, a dog named Sport who's always true, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, there's work to do, 3 boys in denim blue, Fred, Kurt, and Van, that's 3, not 2, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, brushing hair, songs fill the air. These sisters share their mother's care. Mary Lou. Mary Lou, taught to forgive and how we live. That sinners stand in the grace God gives. Mary Lou. My writing's not so good with no glasses, I can't read. Mary Lou, short but true. You were the glue that drew this family close to you. Mary Lou. Mary Lou, a chair that's blue. Home smells like you. Picture frames and stories true remind us of you, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, called it's true. Walked and laughed past 92. Now it's Christ who sits with you, Mary Lou. Mary Lou, now Bill's with you, your honeydew. Remember how those Royal Scots came to visit you, Mary Lou? Mary Lou, now in Albuquerque, with a family barbecue, we'll gather to remember you, Mary Lou.
Just a few more poems here. I was asked to say a few one-liners from some of the in-laws, if you will. Deborah said she accepted me into the family with open arms. Like everyone else, I remember her singing. Donna said, I loved her quick wit and sense of humor. I will miss her love and her laugh. Chris, she was always smiling no matter how she was hurting. She was so much fun, I loved teasing her. Tom, there couldn't be a better mother-in-law. She loved sunsets and blue skies and saw all sorts of things in the clouds, didn't she? So kind of the theme of poetry, you're going to have to bear with mine now, and I apologize for this, but this is the last one I ever wrote, Mom. So, still cool at 95. What more could her children want when their mom was much cooler than Donald Trump? They brag about her to all their friends, saying, you've got to meet her, sooner now than then. She's patient with the nurses when they prod and poke, giving smiles and telling them, you're like kinfolk. Her constant love for others, whether family or friend, always leaves them smiling, or at minimum, a grin. We love to be around her and learn what more we can. She raised her boys to be strong and to be a godly man. We thank Jehovah for you and the joy to share in our lives. You even make an impact with all the love you showed our wives. The matriarch of our family, such an example you do share, that we should always love one another and always back each other here or there. We love you, Mom, for helping us thrive, and how cool you are at a mere 95. So, bear with me one more time. This is the only time I can get to do this, so I appreciate it. We've heard a lot of different comments on Mom, and there's a pretty common theme that she had in her life. And these are a few of the things that I just kind of gravitated to, and how we would describe these attributes of our mother, and your friend, and your grandmother, and your great-grandmother, and your great-great-grandmother. Forgiving. Mom was always preaching forgiveness, especially when we were children. The little, managing 6 kids with their little rifts that we have between us.
Yeah, we had to have some
And
forgiveness.
some of that. Forgiveness was essential for peace at home, but more importantly, she wanted us to understand forgiveness in our hearts, so we wouldn't carry bitterness with us throughout life. Fairness. Mom treated people with, she was fair. Being the youngest and the hungriest, and the biggest, I remember how she would distribute food equally to all of us. Literally, she'd put the glass on the counter and fill it up so we could see it was exactly even. I didn't want Fred to get more than me that day. She was encouraging. Mom never failed to let us know we could achieve whatever goal that we had before us. She also encouraged us in our failures. These are things you can learn from. It's not the end of the world. Keep going. Optimistic. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. I always felt Mom saw life as an adventure to be enjoyed and to be experienced. Generosity. I think you've heard this one. Do you want something to eat? What can I get you to eat? Have you had enough to eat? Let me give you some food to take home to eat. Those who knew Mary Lou never went hungry in so many ways. She's protective. I always knew Mom had my back. She may be small, but if someone crossed her kids, Mama Bear would confront anyone. Even the day before she passed, she whispered to me, no one would hurt us, and that she would still be there to protect us. When I was about 19 years old, I made the decision to spread my wings, move to California, mooch off my sister and brother-in-law. But she said she wanted to go with me. And despite my macho and manly objections, I loaded up all my possessions in my car and my mom. Yeah. And so out to California we went for the big adventure and the success that awaited me. All I can say is, what a blessing that was. We connected like never before. We encountered a snowstorm in the desert of Arizona, heading up into San Diego, the hills of San Diego. We laughed as we watched the fair weather drivers of Arizona and California spin around us, and the cars were literally missing us as we drove to San Diego. But I'll make sure that we prayed for everyone in this one as we passed them. I just want to thank Mom. Thank you, Mom, for inviting yourself. You're so wise. The last attribute, I think, and no, if I'm going over my 5 minutes, too bad. Love. If I had to choose one word to describe my mom, it would be love. She loved God. She loved life. She loved people. She loved to meet people. She loved her neighbors. And boy, did she love her family. I will forever remember her gently giving blessings to each of her children the last day of her awareness. She looked me in the eye and shared her blessings and love of the gift God had given her, the gift of family. All her precious family. To the very last day, she thought of others more than herself. If there are any takeaways that we can utilize as an example to honor Mom's life, it boils down to love of God, love of family, love of one another, and of course, a love of chocolate. So before I turn this back to Noel, the family would definitely like to invite you to Jeannie and Tommy's home. If you don't want to go to Sunset, you can go ahead and go on over to their house. If you go up to Montalvo, down to Constitution, Eddie's, take a right on Constitution. Your first left is Paisano, and then the first street is Donacourt, and it's 12:12.